started running after him, saying, "Yo, I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna." Now he tried to grab my shirt to pull me down, and while that was happening, I start, trying to knock him down, hammering his head. At that moment, I could barely breathe. There was so much adrenaline pumping through my body. I didn't even know if I was hurt. I could barely breathe. I had to remind myself to breathe. Yo, hi, my name is David Freitas, and this is my story. Um, yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys my story and how I eventually got here to where I am now. Um, how my life changed. That's why I'm doing this video. Um, so I'm 20 years old now. I grew up in Brazil, Goiânia. It's a small town, countryside. Um, yeah, life in Brazil is pretty good. As a child, I had great family, great upbringing, great parents, a loving family, and I grew up with a Christian family also. Learning about Jesus, God, who He was, what He did. The biblical stories, and that just stuck with me throughout my whole life. I always had a foundation of who God was. Um, yeah, I was always the hyper kid. I could never stop moving around. I could never stop playing. Always wanted to run, jump. Um, that was pretty much me. Everything kind of changed when I got molested at 5 years old. I got molested by an older kid. It was around early teens, and that just changed me. It traumatized me. I became different because of that. Um, I also got molested a second time by another person, and it's double trauma. So um, after that, I just lost my purity, and I just started to look at things differently, and that's when I got introduced to pornography. I was at a friend's house and he showed it to me, and I just looked at that and I thought that was very interesting, and I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to watch more. It was an instant spark to seeing more of that. And after that, I also started masturbating, and that was the beginning of my addictions. School in Brazil was all right. I got pretty average grades. Um, the the classmates, they weren't really nice to me. They bullied me because of my appearance, my teeth, the way they looked. They called me names, made fun of me. Um, so I never thought I was pretty, so I decided to become funny. I decided to become the class clown. So I just made people laugh. I just made jokes, did silly things to make people laugh and get people's attention. And that's how I got my affirmation that I was, at least worth looking at. Um, so that's how my identity became that. I thought people don't really like the way I look, so I'll just be the funny guy. So yeah, that was my life in Brazil. Around the age of 12, I my parents told me that we were going to the U.S. We are going to move there, and that really made me sad because I was gonna go away from my family, my friends, and lose my life that I had. I had to restart everything here. So, eventually moved. Life was pretty harsh in the beginning here. I didn't speak the language. I didn't know the culture. Um, we had family here, but it wasn't the same thing. We had no friends here. We went through financial struggle. Um, School wasn't really good because um, the people would just ignore you because you don't speak the language. You're not, they can't communicate with you. But eventually, I managed to find some Brazilian friends, and that was good to me. So, yeah, that was my life in school. I also started, growing older and becoming more wise towards things, and that's when I saw that my parents' marriage had problems, and they were just as flawed as anybody else. They were human. So I started looking at them differently, and um, that brought in anger towards them and towards God because they were Christian, and I thought, if these people followed this God, but they live just as badly as other people, why, like, this God must not be real? Why does this exist? I thought it was a joke, a facade, just a thing to make people feel better about themselves. So that's when I strayed away from God. I stopped believing in him. I didn't want anything to do with God. So, and I started becoming angry towards Christian people. I thought they were all hypocrites. Um, so that was that. Then I got to around high school. Started, going the bad route. I started messing with weed, alcohol, you know, trying it out. And also, wasn't really paying attention to school. All I wanted to do was distract myself from the pain. So all I did was play video games. All I did was, watch movies, TV, YouTube. I just distracted myself. And that was pretty much my whole high school life. Eventually, I got to senior year, and then I had managed to, start going to the gym and getting some muscle. And at that time, I got a girlfriend. And that's when I lost my virginity. And things after that just started going downhill. Um, I was still depressed. I was depressed because, I was lonely. I had no will to live. This was throughout my whole teenage years. And I knew that I needed something. I just didn't know what it was. So I thought it was, maybe relationships, or maybe, a career, or like something to do. That's what I thought. So, but yeah, I got into this relationship. I lost my virginity, and this relationship taught me how messed up I was. I used to lie a lot. I used to lie about the pornography addiction, the masturbation addiction, and just things about myself. So I decided to end it because we were fighting a lot and it wasn't working. So I ended it, and after I ended it, I went through a really, really dark path. I just I just didn't want to get out of bed. I just couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't eat. I couldn't even shower. I didn't get out of my room for like a month. So at that point, I realized I needed help. So I decided to go the normal route, psychiatrists. And so I thought that was going to be it. After that, I'm going to be fixed. Like, they're doctors, right? They're going to fix my brain or something. They're going to work through me. So I went, and I decided to just lay everything on the table. Everything that had happened to me, every trauma, everything I've gone through, everything that is happening. And I did. And I remember the doctor, she looked at me and she said, yes, you do have some signs of depression, so I'm going to medicate you with Zoloft so you can go back to work. And those words just really disappoint me because I didn't want to live. And this person, all they worried about was giving me pills so I can go back to work, It didn't make sense. I thought they were there to help me, get a will to live. I went on Zoloft for a week. I felt like a zombie. So I stopped. And at that point, I was addicted to pornography, masturbation, weed, and, had a lot of trauma that I didn't tell anybody about. And the psychiatrist told me that the weed was just like fuel to my depression. So I decided to start quitting. And, I also tried quitting porn and masturbation previously, but it didn't last long, because that's how addictions work. So then, after that, I started quitting weed. I started trying to stop lying to people because I saw how messed up that was. I basically became what I hated. I became a hypocrite. So yeah, I just started trying to walk the right path. And that's when I started trying to fix my relationship with God. I thought, there has to be a God, because if there isn't, there's no reason to live. There's nothing. So, I started praying. I had the basics. Started praying, reading the Bible a little bit there and there, and trying to do the right things. And around that time, I got a little better with the depression. Um, and at that time, I decided to start talking to my ex-girlfriend again. So I invited her for a cup of coffee, and we went out. And we got there. There was this person watching us this whole time. We talked for around 5 hours. Um, at the end of the conversation, it was already pretty late. And as I previously mentioned, I was already trying to stop lying. So I just laid everything on the table. And sometimes the truth hurts. So she got upset and decided to, take a breather walk. So she got up and she went to take a walk to breathe it out. And a little bit after that, the guy that was watching us, he got up and decided to take a walk. I thought it was weird, but I didn't think, much will happen because of that. 5 minutes later, she just comes running at me and screaming. She's saying, Davi, I just got robbed. He punched me in my face. He took my purse and my phone. And at that moment, I instantly just went into attack mode. I just went, where? And she pointed, and I saw the guy just walking away. I started running after him, saying, yo, I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to catch you up. I'm going to catch and beat you up. Stop running. But he just couldn't stop. He just kept going. So eventually I caught up to him. I said, give me the purse back. And he just looked at me. He didn't do anything. So I decided to strike him. I struck him in the cheek. Not in the cheek, the chin. And I struck him 4 times. He fell down. While he fell down, he tried to grab my shirt to pull me down. And while that was happening, I start, trying to knock him down, hammering his head, and then I uppercutted him. At some point, he got knocked down. I grabbed the purse, and I started running back. At that moment, I could barely breathe. There was so much adrenaline pumping through my body. I didn't even know if I was hurt. I could barely breathe. I just, I had to remind myself to breathe, So I remembered myself to call the cops. So I called the cops. They came. It was a whole process. While the process was happening, I learned the full story. The guy didn't just rob her. He wanted to hurt her. He wanted to rape her. So while he was on top of her, this car, just random car, just shows up and pulls up and parks right next to them. And that's when the guy just gets up and starts walking away. So yeah, in this car there was this woman, and later I went to talk to this woman. She just came up to me. The first words she said to me were, "We are always watching." And at that moment my mind instantly went to God, just like that. And I looked at her. I said, "What do you mean we're always watching?" And she said it again. She just said it again. She said, "We're always watching." And at that moment, I just knew. I just knew God was talking to me through this woman. And the coincidence is, the day before, I had prayed that God bless the day of tomorrow and protect me and my ex-girlfriend. And this happens. So after this happens, we were very traumatized. So I brought her here to my house, and my mom took care of us. She's a woman of God. She's a very loving woman. She didn't know what to say, because at those times everything's so, so serious that you don't really know what to say. So all she could do is pray and say that it could have gone a lot worse, and it's true. And after that, I realized that life isn't just a game, and that I can't just be playing around doing whatever I want to do. I have to be serious about it. And the spiritual world is serious. it is out to the the evil side is out to get me. The devil's out to get me. And the only one that can save me from it is God. So I saw how serious it was, and I decided to, change. I wanted to follow God. And then the next day, my mom called my grandma. She prayed with me, and she said, "In the name of Jesus, every blindness come out of him." And at that moment, just something came off my eyes, spiritual eyes. Um, so the next day, I just went to live my normal life, as I thought it was, and you know, I just thought it was so foolish, so waste of time. The videos I watched, the stuff I did, the things I like to talk about, it was so waste of time and foolish. And I just, wanted God badly. So I started seeking him. That's what I did. I started seeking Jesus. I started reading the Bible. I started going to church. I started, just wanting more. At some point, I wanted him so bad that I did fasts like for every day. Every day I used to fast because I just wanted him badly. I wanted him. And that's when I started my deliverance process. That's a whole story of itself. But the deliverance process isn't easy. But at the end, it's worth it. At the end, it's like 50 kilos comes off your soul. I renounced everything. I renounced every trauma I had, every addiction, every problem I had. I renounced it. I gave it to Jesus, and he just took it out of me. He took the weight out of me, and he healed me from depression. He healed me from weed addiction, from porn addiction, masturbation. He healed me from myself, from my own flesh. And yeah, I just started falling in love with Jesus, and at some point, my wants became his. Like, I wanted what he wanted because I know that God has the best for me. So I just, it's kind of simple. So I just started following him, and yeah, I got delivered. I got the Holy Spirit, and now I'm a completely different person. I have joy. I have I have like so much joy. It's you can't explain it. Nothing shakes me because I know that he's with me. He's all I need. So yeah, that's my story, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully touch some of you guys. And if you're interested in this Jesus guy, I just want to let you know he's alive. He loves you, and he wants to have a relationship with you. That's what it is. It's not about religion or like pastors or church. It's a God, the only God. It's Jesus. And he loves everybody, and he wants to save everyone. So, yeah. If you want to get to know him, all you got to do is just pray to him. Just say, "Jesus, I want to get to know you. I want to know you like that. I want you to change my life," And he will do it. He listens to you. He loves you. So that's it. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. See you next time.